And welcome to the inaugural Old Bull and Young Calf Boston Sports Podcast finals preview mashup. My dad and I, we've been stewing on a lot of different thoughts for the last forever. It's been a week, I think almost exactly since the Boston Celtics played, since we knew we were in the playoffs. I'm sorry, knew we were in the finals. And we wanted to allude or at least comment on a lot of this after the Indiana game. But we focused on the moment, we enjoyed it, and now we have a week's worth of news article research, drama and everything to share with you all, and hopefully hear from you all as well. So I'm just making sure we are live on everything. I'm looking for it on Facebook. Okay, I see us on Facebook. I'm gonna go make sure we're public there. So, Dad, we're here. We can focus on the Mavs. The players are focused on the Mavs. You mentioned you have a lot of kind of ammo in the chamber for this series. What's kind of that top take? How do you want to start us off?
Man, my son, the young Cab, he has gotten what he has wanted. He has been
Yeah,
on this personal vendetta
yeah,
forever. People, I am talking, you have no idea the amount of texts my son has sent me over the past 3 years because people automatically say that Doncic is better than Tatum, and
yeah.
that drives my boy
Oh yeah,
insane. So here you go, Matt. You got what you wanted, the stage an opportunity for Tatum to put all that Luca is better than him garbage behind him.
yep,
So here we are. And, you know, I am so excited for this series. I'm glad, first off, that the Mariners are healthy coming in. I'm so sick of hearing that garbage about, oh, their path, missing this guy, that guy. Lucas had time to rest his, I don't know, his shaky knee or whatever like that. I don't want to hear any of those damn excuses anymore. So I'm glad they're coming in healthy. And I tell you, Matt, this is shaping up to be possibly your all-time favorite championship because
yeah,
there is an opportunity here for someone to be a Boston legend. You got the ultimate villain in Kyrie Irving. And let me tell you something. By the end of this series, Doncic is probably not going to be far behind. This guy is a major trash talker. He's going to be yelling directly at our fans, at our
oh yeah.
players,
Flipping
probably
us
even at
off,
our
maybe.
coaches. Absolutely. And there is a golden opportunity for possibly Jalen Brown or Jason Tatum to become a Boston legend because if they could give it back to him and then back it up and win a championship on top of it, along with burying Kyrie Irving in the championship, oh my God, if you could be that guy, you will go down in history in New England.
Oh, for sure. And my buddy Jay's in here. My buddy Jay is one of the dozen or so Dallas Mavericks fans. He's actually going to one of the games in Dallas, and Jay, of course, is trolling chat. Doncic over Tatum, easy. And Jay, I know you're messing around. I don't know exactly what MFFL Mavericks forever 4 losses or something, but in any case, my dad is right. And I think this is a super important series for Tatum. It's a super important series for this Celtics team because I think this is the first series where the media is truly making them out to be an underdog. And I don't know if that is because um, they're just bored. And I think a lot of it is rage baiting because if you look at a lot of basketball minds, there's really no basketball mind that doesn't look at this series and say the Celtics should win this. Now, ESPN, a lot of their people who like to scream loud are super favoring the Mavericks. My dad has sent me a bunch of texts. I'm sure we're going to touch on that. But I think, and this is one of the comments I've made, pretty often leading into this series, if I'm on Reddit or I'm talking to somebody, at no point in this series will you see a Maverick player call for a switch so they can get Jason Tatum to guard them. It will not happen. If you find it, if you happen, send me a clip, but it will not happen. I guarantee you, almost every time we have the ball, we're going to try and get a switch. So Doncic is the primary defender on almost all of our guys. That's the difference. And the casual fan, I think, struggles to see that. Like they're super big into the big numbers. Doncic puts up those numbers. Doncic is a generational offensive talent. I just love what Jason Tatum brings to the table from the defensive standpoint and how he has his game. His game really doesn't have too many holes. So Jay says Boston is favored for Vegas. I think anybody with the brain will say that the Celtics have the advantage here. And we got Jeff Unknown. Hey guys, I'm a Raptors fan, but I love you guys. I love you guys for the Bruins content. So I'm 100% behind the Celtics. Welcome, welcome, Jeff. I know we differ on the hockey front. If you're from, if you enjoy the Raptors, you probably like the Leafs, but we really do appreciate all of our Leafs uh, adversaries. You guys,
Yeah,
your banter and everything. Go ahead, Dad.
we were gonna actually root for Toronto if they got by
Oh
us
yeah,
because you guys were amazing up there supporting us and awesome fun banter that never got personal. Matt, I mean, there's a little bit exaggeration to what you said, right? That
yeah.
everyone's picking the Mavericks. No, but it is like 50-50, which is it's just strange because I feel like everyone just wants to have that hot take. Vegas has them at more than a two
Oh,
to one favorite. I read somewhere that it would be the third biggest upset in NBA history since the merger if Dallas were to beat us. I feel like everybody is just going off recency bias because Dallas has been good. They've beaten some good teams. And here's the big key for me, right? Vegas, do they get it right all the time? No, they don't, obviously. Are there major upsets that they don't predict? Yep, absolutely. But the point is, Vegas does get it right most of the time. And the fact that have the Celtics at a 2-1 favorite, you know how much money they would lose if Dallas ends up winning this series? Because everyone is loading up on them with
yeah,
odds like that. So they must be very confident. And Vegas knows their stuff. They must be extremely confident that the Celtics are going to win the series because it's almost like they're baiting these Dallas fans and these Dallas supporters. Hey, come back. Look at these odds. Look how much money you win if you bet them. Oh, and
yeah,
they're so hot lately. And all these experts are saying, I like Dallas. I like Dallas. Well, and then they buffer it with, well, maybe if Porzingis come back and he's healthy, I don't know, blah blah blah. It's like, no, dude, take a stand. Who are you picking? And I want everyone to throw it in their face when the Celtics win this series, okay? Because half the people are picking the Celtics. I read something today too that all the major news outlets, it's about 50-50. So, all right, hey, all those hot takes out
yeah.
there, so confident. I just remember what you pick.
Yeah, and I think, you hit the nail on the head. I think a lot of it is trying to get clicks, trying to push people to, their content. Even if it's people being angry, I think it's really tough to pick against the Celtics series. Uh, Jay mentioned Scott Foster is on payroll. They dropped all the refs, and I mean, to be honest, there's no surprises from the refs, and it does suck because I feel like the NBA refs get so much more face time. These guys are like mini celebrities in the world, and in the it's kind of sad how the game has really become so much about the refs. Whereas, like, yeah, like in football, we're aware of refs, like we probably keep up with like the stats, but they're just not so in your face. In hockey, I don't think I could tell you a single ref in hockey. Um, but man, basketball, it really does become that way. And it's the usual suspects. Every year, this is what it is. Um, Obel, great show. Oh, hey, so Hustle Stacks. So Hustle Stacks is another podcast here in New England. They always give us, I'm always in there talking in their chat. They're really fun couple guys, a few guys. They are called
Nice
Parlay with
hustle.
Us. Yeah, parlay with us.
Nice.
They want to do like a collab show. We got to find a way to get
Boom.
together. Yeah, I know.
Let's
These
do that.
guys, I'll tell you one thing. They're much better dressed than us. All of those guys are wearing like retro nice jerseys. They got memorabilia hanging in the background. My dad's got a refrigerator and I have, some old curtains. So,
I'm
the
in the
production
middle of
value over there.
moving. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
And
production
I am going to buy an authentic Celtics jersey. I'm waiting for the
Oh,
season to end. I don't want to jinx them. Okay.
oh,
So, and hi, sis. Let's go,
hey
C's.
auntie.
Love you. All
That's
right.
our aunt.
So,
Wait, I want one thing. I want one
no,
thing. One
yeah, go
thing.
ahead.
So you mentioned the ability to become a historic team, the ability to beat Doncic, to beat Kyrie. Not only is that true, but just from a record standpoint, we have only had 20 losses this season. So that means the Celtics, I don't, they're like three series. So they're 76-20 right now. They have a chance to be 80-20 in a regular season, from regular season to playoffs. That's historic win record. If they can find a way to sweep this Mavericks team, which I think they're fully capable of doing so, I like this this team should be compared to like the 2017 Warriors, right? The 2017 Warriors that I think you said lost one game in the playoffs,
They
right?
did. They lost
Yeah.
one game, yeah.
So I mean, we have an opportunity to lose two games in the playoffs with losing a 28 player in Porzingis for almost all of it, and then winning the championship. I think this team has an opportunity to make history and be talked about as one of the best NBA teams to of the best NBA seasons that were ever had, because of the record and their longevity of success throughout the season. And Hustle Stacks, you guys got good
Yes,
character. Don't change. Love you, man. Appreciate you. Go
we
ahead, Dad.
appreciate that. And man, the old bull has a golden opportunity here, knock on wood, to nail a major prediction at the beginning of the year. We did a really old segment when we first started. We compared the 86 Celtics, the 2008 Celtics, and this year's
Yeah,
Celtics from a talent standpoint. Talent standpoint. And Matt and I crunched a lot of numbers. We went over the roster, and it killed me to say it being the old man because I love that 86 Celtics team. But telling the truth, I said this team is the most talented team in Celtics history. Does it mean anything if they don't win it all? No, it does not. It doesn't mean garbage. So hopefully they can finish it, seal the deal, because they will, Matt. All of their numbers will reflect. They will go down as a historic team. And let me tell you something, their path to the championship, nobody's going to care in 10 years. You know who else had a joke of a path? The 86 Celtics. Do you ever hear about the 86 Celtics path, or do you just hear that possibly the greatest team of all time? That's all you hear is that 86 Celtics team is possibly the greatest team of all time. Nobody ever talks about the path. No one's going to care in 5 to 10 years. It's about winning the championship. It wasn't our fault. Players get injured. Other teams get knocked out that were better. Sorry, not our fault. Okay, we took care of business. So
that's
we
how it
do,
is every
man. You're
year.
right. We have a chance to be known as a historic all-time team. And man, will it be awesome if they can finish that. Absolutely.
Yeah, and what do we always say? In every sport, the healthiest team is the team who wins. That's it. You can have all the talent in the world, but if I mean, the Nuggets won last year because they were the healthiest team. They were like and then the year before that they lost Murray and they were bouncing like the first round. I mean, just kind of the way the balls kind of roll out there. Sometimes you guys get hurt. We're a healthy team, so looking at this Mavericks team, right? And everything you hear now, oh, the trade deadline, oh, the trade deadline, the trade deadline. Their team's changed. So we played them on March 1st. The trade deadline for the NBA was February 8th. Now, this is the biggest curveball. And whenever anybody knocks on Indiana, this is kind of what you got to throw in their face. So February 5th to February 14th, the Mavericks were on a 7-game win streak, right? 7-game win streak. Uh, Oh, it's February 27th, 22nd, I'm sorry. So this is now 2 weeks after the trade deadline. They've won 6 games in a row with this new roster, and they face who a team that's getting pooped on right now, but an Indiana Pacers team. They face an Indiana Pacers team, and they got blown out by 22 points. This everyone was going crazy about this new defense of this Mavericks team, and the team we just swept beat them by 22 points. So anybody who dogs on the Pacers, remind them that the Pacers beat the Mavericks twice after the trade deadline. Then they beat them again on March 5th by 17 points. They put up 137 points on them. So anybody who dogs on the Pacers, I think, just doesn't understand basketball. That Pacers team was very special, and I respect them. They're one of, I think, the most exciting offenses to watch in the NBA because they bring back that 86 Celtics kind of game whenever you watch those mid-rangers and everything like that. So we just swept the team that beat the Mavericks by at least 17 both their games. So, and of course then we
Yeah.
beat the Mavericks by 18.
And the Pacers were shooting the lights out the whole series. They
Yeah.
didn't just give that series to the Celtics. They didn't have one bad shooting night. I mean, I find it really hard to believe that Dallas was going to shoot at the same percentages that Indiana did. Those guys were just lethal with the shot. They have other deficiencies. They're not as good as Dallas with the defense and all that good stuff. But you know, it's just there is an opportunity here, right? And we're really about to find out what Tatum is made out of, right? Because all Tatum is hearing about is how terrible he was in the finals 2 years ago, how Doncic is it's just an afterthought. Doncic is the best player in this series, period. It's not even a discussion. And we're about to really find out what Tatum's made out of, right? I think you're going to find out pretty early in the first like 5
Oh
minutes.
yeah.
Is his
Oh
shot
yeah.
going? Does he look aggressive? And because if he's as soft as people like to claim to be, he's this isn't the series he's going to show up. Doncic is going to be talking crap.
Oh
And,
yeah.
after all the weight, everyone's saying he needs to be the guy, he needs to win a championship. I'm hoping this is his moment where he's like, F these people, F them all. I am going to show them this clown is not better than me. I don't wilt under the pressure. I am going to go out there and I'm going to stomp a hole in everybody. So I
Yeah.
am dying to see that Tatum. I think he is coming this series. And, there's so much motivation there too. What do you think of that, Matt?
No, I completely agree. And I think, Doncic showed us a lot in that game. I think game 5 against the Wolves, right? He came out, he shot like 4 for 5 to start the game, just really put the Wolves away. The Wolves just showed so much quit in that game. They put up no effort. That was so embarrassing. That was a waste of a game 5. They should have just lost in game 4 and gotten swept. And I want Tatum to have a similar killer mentality. A lot of times he lets the game come to him, and for the most part, we've been pretty successful with that. But I think that on this stage, he's been here before. He's one of the few players who've been here before. On the other side, I think only Kyrie has been here before. Tatum has to go hard. 20 points in the first quarter. I hope you're talking about uh, Jalen Brown or Tatum, or maybe Jay, you're talking about how many points the Mavericks are going to score in the first quarter, which I think is a bit too high. I think we're gonna put some lockdown defense. Now, Jay, I don't know how much you've watched the Celtics, but I think the what we want with Tatum, I think, is more of going to be a reality with Jalen Brown. Jalen Brown is on a mission. He has no contract, like what we talk about with the Bruins with Lindholm. Jalen Brown is the opposite. He got his contract and he has done nothing but improve. So here's a stat for you, Dad. Jalen Brown is shooting 65% from the field when he's going with his left hand. When using his left hand, he's shooting 65% from the field. He's really put the haters on notice. 100. So we got a couple people talking. We got George. Tatum has the stage. Hope he comes
That's
through like
Greg.
the superstar we know
Greg.
he is.
Gregory.
Oh, Gregory. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like the superstar we know he is and can be. 100% Gregory. I mean, we're all waiting for it. This is big, and I think I have some other stats I'm actually going to bring up. And then one more thing, we have Jay saying Doncic had 20 in the first game, game 5. That's what he was doing. He was letting me know how much Doncic have. I personally believe Jalen Brown is your most important player. Um, yeah,
So when I said that I want to see how Tatum responds to Luka talking trash to him, jarring at him, Kyrie Irving being on the same court. Let me tell you one player I'm not worried about, and that's Jalen Brown. I want
oh
to see
no,
Luka go at Jalen Brown because Jalen Brown will give it back to him. He will give it back to him, and he's got like I said, the opportunity's there. Who wants to be a Boston legend, right? Who wants to put Doncic not just in his place on the court, but talk back to him when he's down and he's losing and bring the championship home. It's there for one of them two to grab it. Could one of the others like Holiday, Porzingis, White, Horford do it? It's possible for a game, but I'm saying for the series, they have a chance to go down in history.
yep. And I think Gregory, you talked about this, and this is something I saw from Clutch Points. I'm going to share it real quick. Look at these stats. Tatum in the first round of 2022 when we went to the finals, big, almost 30 points a game. This season, he kind of took it easy against the Heat. 22 points a game. The following 27, then 26. He is doing the opposite of what he did in the last finals trip, where he's ramping it up. He was 30 points per game in that conference finals. I would love to see Tatum take this even higher to another level because we know he's capable of it. And it's not even just his points per game. Like my dad said, he's been actually major with rebounding and everything. So, Dad, do you see that trajectory with Tatum, Dad? Like are those numbers surprising to you? Have you noticed that?
No, it's because the Indiana games were close. They needed Tatum to take a bigger role than just distributing. So he did. And you know why he was able to do that? Because he's rested. It's not like it was 2 years ago when he
Yep.
was already
Yep.
running out of gas at this point, and then he went up against an experienced Golden State team, and he was just out of gas. Period. Injured wrist also. I mean, not that that's an excuse. Everyone has injuries, but there's a difference, and they are super rested going in, and it's just it's there, right? The one thing I will almost agree on with all the national pundits and media, and you're gonna hate me for saying this, Matt, but if they don't win it this year, I don't know if they're going to. I mean,
Yeah.
they'll never be more loaded, never be more rested, never be more healthy. Consider, that's as long as
Considering. Yep.
Porzingis playing and he looks close to himself. Barring a catastrophic injury, knock on wood, in the finals, they don't win it. I don't know if they're ever going to. I hate to agree with the national media. This is the year. This is when they have to do it. And Tatum has a chance to be 2 years younger than LeBron and Jordan when he wins his first title.
Yep.
Tatum, you want people to start talking about you more? Win your first title at 26, 2 years before Jordan and LeBron did. And people will start talking. Okay.
Yeah.
I just hope Tatum doesn't fall into and I'm not making, this isn't my hot take. A lot of people have said it. Jaylen Brown won the Eastern Conference Most Valuable Player. I'm going to do whatever I can to win the Finals Most Valuable Player, and start forcing things. I hope
Ah,
he does not do that, because it has to be tempting for him.
yeah.
Especially after the way he showed up and played like crap 2 years ago in the finals.
Now, here's another tidbit just about my dad mentioned being rested. So, Jason Tatum and Jalen Brown have currently played 300 fewer total minutes this year than they had at this point last year. So at this point last year, they were over 3,500 for Tatum. He's at 3,200. Jalen Brown was over 3,100, and he's currently at 2,800. And I mean, that's just a major difference. And
Yeah.
meanwhile, you have the other side of the coin where you have Doncic and Kyrie, who currently in the playoffs have played about 660 minutes each. They're on
Wow.
pace to play over 900 minutes. The last team that has had anybody play over 900 minutes in one was the 2019 Raptors. So if you're still here, Jeff Unknown, I mean, it's very difficult because fatigue becomes a factor. We are very rested, especially compared to this Mavericks team. And speaking of this Mavericks team, um, one of the things is their path, right? So that first series, they faced a Kawhi-less Clippers, and in my personal opinion, I think the Clippers were one of the favorites coming out of the West before Kawhi got hurt. Kawhi is just a machine. You know, he's he's like a Jimmy Butler, right? He gets the playoffs, turns on, except he actually wins championships. Not Jimmy Butler doesn't do that,
Yeah.
but Kawhi going down, they faced a team, a Clippers team whose like leading scorer was Norman Powell. Like, okay, and then Jeff is still here. Jeff, that 2019 Raptors team, man, they appear in some stats because you guys ran your players into the ground. 900 plus minutes. That's insane. Um,
They got it done though. And Matt, that's
they
a
did get
great
it done.
stat. Way to find
Yeah.
those minute stats. That's amazing. Good
Yeah.
job.
Well, what shout out to Reddit. I'm finding just like I love scrolling through the Celtics subreddit. If anybody ever is on there, that there's a lot of niche statistics. And what was I saying? My bad, Dad. What was I
Oh,
saying?
no,
I
Kawhi
forgot.
Leonard. Kawhi Leonard.
Kawhi
He's
Leonard.
like a
Oh,
10th best player
oh,
in
the
the league,
path.
which is legit. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, what a great year that was. I mean, that hey, you robbed Joel Embiid from going any deeper in the playoffs, and I love that. And the fact that O'Shea Brissett currently has more points in the Eastern Conference Finals than Joel Embiid is something I appreciate. So shout out to the Raptors for making that happen. Now back to the
Yeah.
path, right? That second series, they were facing that OKC team, and that OKC team, the one that a lot of us, kind of held up very high. Those guys choked. I mean, if you watch those games, all the if everyone has probably watched a regular season game against those guys. Lou Dort, Giddy, Chet, all those guys were hitting threes left and right. Um, Ish, whatever. None of that was happening. That Oklahoma City team showed their immaturity, and the Mavericks exploited that in a major way. They were not the Oklahoma City you saw in the regular season. Next up, they
Matt, they're
face
young. Young teams,
yeah.
do not. Let me touch on it real quick, please. Young
Go
teams
please.
just don't win in the NBA. They don't. And which kind of brings me to your next series. Because who was the best player in the next series, Matt? Who choked all series?
Oh, that was Michael Jordan. I mean, Anthony Edwards. Even though
Oh,
everyone was anointing him Michael Jordan, I mean, that was absolutely
yeah,
absurd. And you know, I think experience matters. Jason here, experience does matter, and I think Kyrie does bring that to the Mavericks. And I think he's probably one of the better players, similar to Drew Holiday and Derek White at the end of the game and making decisions and things like that. That kind of cut from that same cloth. So you got to respect him. Um, but that Timberwolves team was not built to beat the Mavericks. They were built to beat the
Mavericks.
Denver Nuggets, and they did it.
They were. Yep.
And of course, that Mavericks team, I mean, really exploited them. So, I mean, Dad, any takeaways from that series coming out? Like, how do you respect that kind of series win or anything like that?
I mean, it's a good win for Dallas. The NBA is not like it's just not like hockey, right? It's about matchups. It's very similar to football. You get like an overwhelming matchup at one position, or you just don't match up well at
Oh
another
yeah,
position, it's just not going to work. You get a corner who can lock down a big physical receiver, but then he goes up against the fastest receiver in the league. It's just not a good matchup, or vice versa. So the Mavericks were just a good matchup for that Timberwolves team who has to play Gobert a lot, Reed a lot, Towns a lot, big, slow, old school centers. That can, two of them can hit the three, but they can't defend out in the perimeter. They can't defend at the 3-point line. They just, with the Celtics, they have guys who aren't, Horford, again, you don't want Horford in a lot of isolation situations or Porzingis, but everyone else can defend all over the court. And those guys are better defending out in the perimeter than any of those three centers I just named for the Timberwolves. It's a matchup thing. It was a good win for them. Give them
oh
credit.
yeah,
But I just think, like you said, Denver was not a good matchup for the Timberwolves. Timberwolves win. Minnesota Timberwolves, not a good matchup for Dallas. Dallas wins. Here comes the Celtics. Not a good matchup for Dallas. I'm telling you now. And you're not, again, I don't take much out of those regular season games, but PJ Washington and Kyrie Irving and Doncic could not cover Brown or Tatum to save their lives, or Porzingis in the second game when he played. They were just overmatched, overwhelmed, and then here we are again. So, yep, they've been playing better D. Let's see. Let's see if it translates. Is it going to be a little better than the regular season? I bet it will be. Absolutely. I don't think it's going to be much better. But Matt,
yeah.
we're going to stop burying the league. We're going to stop talking about you know who. We're going to talk about him because
Well,
we've been talking a lot about Doncic. We got to get into Kyrie.
yeah, and before we mention that, Legendary Pancake, that's my buddy Andrew Bailey. He's actually co-hosted the podcast with us. Holiday and Tatum are gonna destroy the Mav Stars on defense. And just from a matchup
Oh
standpoint,
boy.
I think we match up so well against this Mavericks team. Of course, the shifty fast guards give Holiday a bit of trouble. But Kyrie, he's very shifty, but he's not Shea Gildress or De'Aaron Fox fast. So you got to hope he can stay in front of him. Same thing with Doncic, right? Doncic is a bit slower, so there's it's and I mentioned this in the post game of when we put away the Pacers. It's the opposite of the Pacers, where the Pacers were so kind of middle heavy, where their 3 through 7 would just kill you. This is a top heavy team. Their 1-2 are
Good point.
so important, right? So now we can talk about those 1-2, and we talk about Doncic, but let's touch on Kyrie. So Kyrie is tough, right? My dad and I argued so much when Kyrie was here because I believed
Oh,
Kyrie when he said that if you'll have me, you'll keep me in Boston. And people will say a lot. They'll say, cry me a river, get over it, move on, or whatever. I don't wish any harm on Kyrie, but I also don't wish him success. I don't think about him a bunch, but I do want to see him struggle. And luckily for me, I've seen him struggle 10 straight times against this Boston Celtics core, right? Very similar to the Bruins, where we get frustrated by the core because it's almost like something's in their DNA where they've struggled with different things. This Boston Celtics core has owned Kyrie Irving, no matter who he has had on his team. So you can say, oh, he has Doncic now, but he had Kevin Durant before. I mean, Doncic is nice, but Kevin Durant has been there, done that, and he's way more of an ice cold killer than Doncic is. And that's not opinion, that's also fact because Kevin Durant has much more titles. So, I mean, Kyrie has had talent around him and been swept by the Celtics team. These players, I know they're buddy buddy with him. I know that they don't, they won't, they might help him up and crap, but it almost works in our favor in a weird way. It's almost like the players feel more comfortable around him and they excel. And the proof is in the pudding. 10 straight games. I mean, it's I think that's very important. Dad, how do you feel? How do you feel about Kyrie? Is your feelings more visceral? Do you hate the guy? What do you got?
So this series, it's almost guaranteed to be in my top three most painful championship defeats ever, or top three most amazing,
Enjoyable, yeah.
unbelievable championships ever. If we were to lose, okay, and lose with this team, how much of a joy they've been all year. They just they're so awesome to watch. They're just such a pleasure. They're so professional. Drew Holiday with the Marcus
Oh
Smart
yeah.
flopping crap gone. Professional Drew Holiday in here, just going about their business, being pros. And then you get to this big mouth Luka Doncic and you get to Kyrie Irving. This guy was just something else. I said back when we were all arguing when he left, I said to my best friend Rich up there, my son Matt, he is going to go down as the biggest villain in Boston sports history. And Rich pushed back. He thought it was A-Rod, a couple of things. And I'm like, nope, you watch. And over the next 2 years, it came to fruition because
Oh yeah.
that guy just became a bigger and bigger jerk as his mouth opened more and more. And we cannot, if we lose to Big Mouth Doncic, and all the pros get to say, "We told you he's better than Tatum. He's the guy." And then you factor in losing to Kyrie Irving after everything he's put our franchise through. I'm telling you, you might not see the young Cav. He might just grow a giant beard and go sleep in a
Into
cave for the
hiding.
next
Yeah.
5 years. And the old bull is just going to be dead. So you're going to be like, where's the podcast? Well, the young Cav's going to be hibernating, and the old bull's just going to die. Okay. And he's going to be gone. So, but let me tell you something, though. The Celtics, they take care of business. They win the championship against these guys after being on a high all year from their amazingness, finishing the deal finally after watching them come so close for the past 7 years. And then you shut that punk Doncic up and you beat the ultimate Boston villain. Kyrie, big mouth, egotistical, know it all,
Oh yeah.
Irving. Oh my goodness. This will just rank up there as one of the all time favorite championships in my lifetime. Please, baby Jesus, with your blonde curly hair and your bright blue eyes, give me this, please.
Yeah. And I think that this you kind of set the table for this weird, like, almost stars aligning redemption arc, right? Because we now have an almost similar way the opposite of Kyrie Irving with Kristaps Porzingis, right? Kyrie being out for that deep playoff run where we, went against LeBron in game 7 and Kyrie had deviated septum surgery and didn't even show up, right? And then was bitter towards our young players for, I think, the rest of his career. Whether the players are naive enough or not to register it, he was upset about their success. There's no other way around it, right? Now you have Kristaps Porzingis, who missed a decent amount of games this season, missed most of this playoff run, but he's arrived at the Garden pretty much every game, and he's encouraged the team. He's up there. I've never once see him say an ill word or you know all he's done is battle back. And now, opposite of Kyrie, when we need him the most, he is battling back, rehabbing, and he's going to be there probably for game 1. And that's the breaking news that has been out everywhere from Shams. The interview with Porzingis today at the Auerbach Center. all indications point to Porzingis being in Jersey for the Boston Celtics. And this is the opposite of Kyrie, right? This is the positivity of seeing your teammates have success and doing what you can to add value to that success and not being bitter. And really, it would put a perfect stamp on this and, just sign, seal, and deliver and make up for the pain that we experienced with the garbage Kyrie put us through in that, the many years, the handful of years he was here, the stomping unlucky, he's just a garbage teammate, to be honest. And whether he's good in Dallas or not, I just, obviously it didn't work out in any of the other places he went to. I would love to rub it in his face, and more than anything, I want success for Jalen Brown and Jason Tatum. Those guys, Al Horford. There's so many reasons to win this, and you talked about matchups earlier, Dad. What Porzingis brings to the team from a matchup standpoint is major, right? Because the what I saw was the Mavericks throw something like 6 times more lobs than second place lobs in this playoffs. Isn't that absolutely insane? So the second most lobs in the playoffs are six times fewer than the Mavs total lobs, and there's almost no one better to stop that than Porzingis because even though they had him as a ball watcher in Dallas as Doncic just dribbled at the clock every time. He has come here and he's transformed his defense. I think people forget how amazing his defense is and what he is going to be able to do in the post against all these mismatches because the Mavericks, just like us, switch everything. So we should be able to get Kyrie on him. We should be able to get Doncic on him. And, hopefully all that Porzingis has been doing in this downtime of rehab has been shooting, right? Hopefully he is money because he was certainly money in that game against them early this season when we beat him by 23. He was like plus 20 something. He had a few big threes. This team is so well rounded and so primed. Everything's coming together. Adding Porzingis, I think, is going to be the cherry on top. We're going to be so hard to beat. So hard to beat.
So Matt, you know, and we talk about the stage being set for Tatum and Brown. How about the stage is set for Missoula, right? Still has a lot of doubters out there. And I was going to bring that up. They have almost as many lobs as the entire like slam dunk alley oops as the entire league this year in the playoffs. They have almost the same exact amount. So Missoula, you had 10 days to come up with a game plan and make sure that does not happen. Okay. You had 10 days to not stop Kyrie or Doncic, but to find a way to slow them down or neutralize one. You neutralize one, and it's over. That game's over. They need both of their stars to have epic games to beat us. That's why it's so important for Brown and Tatum to just keep pace with those two. You don't have to outscore them. Just don't get killed in the scoring department against them. Match them. Because look at every player after that. The next 5 players on the Celtics compared to the next 5 players on Dallas are a joke. Those matchups are an absolute joke. We destroy them. So as long as our 2 stars can just hold par with those 2 stars, and Missoula puts them in a position to do that, take away those easy slam dunk lobs. This is a chance for Joe to shut everybody up too and make his mark on the league and prove he's the best young coach in the game. So here you go. You had 10 days to do it, Missoula. I hope you've been in that film room, and I hope whatever you guys thought of you, Cassell, and Lee, Sam Lee, the other backup coach, I hope it comes true. And yeah,
Yep.
Al Horford, Matt, there is by far the biggest reason as far as Celtics players, they need to win this championship. For the love of God, please win this for Al. Have you ever met a pro athlete who deserves a championship more than that guy? Oh my goodness. Just
Yep.
somebody just step up for him. Everybody. Because, man, how great will it be to see Al Horford hug that trophy and crying,
Oh
finally
man.
getting there?
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, just goosebumps. I got goosebumps thinking about it. The old man, he's
Same.
given everything he's had in every year he's been here. So man, I
Yeah.
it's just we need all the stars have aligned. Everything has come together. This is it, and they're gonna do it. You know me. If I was nervous or scared, like I was the Bruins, I would tell you. I'm Celtics don't knock on wood get any injuries in this series. They're
Yep.
taking care of it. They're winning, and I think they're gonna win in five.
Yeah. I don't think that's a bad, prediction. And I think they're probably going to win in 4, maybe 5. I think this is going to be one of the uh, easier defensive matchups for us. Maybe the easiest defensive matchup for us of the playoffs so far. I think they have firepower in a different way, and I think the Celtics do a great job of kind of the Bill Belichick approach of taking away the other team's best player, especially this team. And so when you have two players that are the focal point, and around them are a bunch of guys that you should technically not really have to worry about, then the hope is that a lot of the experience will shine through, and this team will thrive. And I think the like our starting four, right, outside of Porzingis, if you count Horford, everyone has been in the finals, right? And that is a massive, massive advantage. Derek White played for us in 2022. I don't know if you remember that. He really
Yeah.
started to come around as a player for us, and he had a really good game one. Game two was okay, but he kind of fell off. This is a redemption opportunity for him as well. So I'm really
Mhm.
hoping that what we see is, like you said, Dad. That middle of the lineup, that kind of 3 through 6, really has to step up, because that is where I think you know the the meter's just off the charts, right? Because if we name like the top
Yeah.
8 players in the series, right? How I think are 6 of them the Celtics?
Yeah, they are. They absolutely are, and there's no doubt about that. So,
Yeah,
you know, as long as Tatum and Brown don't get destroyed on the scoring sheet by Doncic and Irving, this it should be a Celtics win. Is it a cakewalk? I don't know. The Celtics haven't been blowing out teams the last few games. It's just I is it because that they haven't been playing well, or it's just hard to take a team without Halliburton seriously, their best players. So we'll see now. They've heard
yeah,
nothing but hype for 10 days. They're getting, the best team left in the league besides them. Dallas has been really good the second half of the year. I mean, there's no more motivation than this.
yeah,
Luca and his trash talk, his best player in the world talk now. Now he's better than Jokic all of a sudden. And then you got Kyrie Irving coming to town. And, I'm really hoping to see a lot of Tatum and Brown having that attitude that they had at times against the other team's best player in the other
yep,
series. Like when they
team,
start
yep,
going off a little bit, look, I got Doncic. I got him shutting him down now. And Brown has been doing that. I'm hoping Tatum does that a little more. He showed signs of it a little bit against Toppin when Toppin got hot. So, and I think Derek White's going to mostly be on Irving with some Holiday in it. Holiday, they're probably going to try Holiday on Doncic as well a little bit. So I'm not crazy about Holiday on Irving because he has trouble with shiftier players like
yeah.
Gillis,
Hey,
whatever his name is, the kid who was up for MVP, like guys
Gilgis,
like
yep,
that, he struggles with. Yeah. So, I mean, it's
yeah.
a fascinating series. It
No, I
really
mean,
is. And man, I can't wait.
if you look at the team, right, and we talk about the transformation of this team since 2022. So in 2022, Jalen Brown had 74 turnovers, right? Now that includes the finals, so it's kind of skewed a bit here. But this season, he has 37, so he is half the turnovers with 7 games to go. Right now, the biggest change here is Jason Tatum. Do you remember how many turnovers he had in that 2022 playoff run? 100,
I
triple
know.
digits
Yes,
turnovers.
that's right. Oh my
So this
goodness.
year, he has less than Jalen Brown. He has 34 turnovers. 34 turnovers, that's it. And he's now
Yeah.
facing a Dallas Mavericks team. And I'll have to double check this, but there's almost no way this Dallas Mavericks team is, generating the turnovers that, the Miami Heat were last year, or that Golden State Warrior team. there's going to be a lot more open space and a lot more holes in the defense. We're, we are not the, of course, we're not the equals remotely to the Golden State Warriors, but we are now flipped. That when we first arrived against that Warriors team, we were the team that was walking into the bright lights, right? This Mavericks team is now that, walking into the bright lights, experiencing this for the first time. We have to capitalize on that, the just like the Warriors did to us. The ball pressure and not turning over the ball. The fans are going to be absolutely crazy. In Boston, and I don't know. I got a ton of faith in this team. I'm super excited, Dad. Uh, any other you got any comments on that, Dad, or any other takes you want to touch on?
Yeah, I mean, you're right. We're like the Warriors of what they were that year. Okay, not on a historic level, I get that, but we led the league in 3-point attempts. We led the league in 3-point makes. We set records in offensive efficiency, whatever those analytics are. We've destroyed everybody, and our defense is number 2 in the league. And there are no weak spots on our defense. Even when you get down to Hauser, he's a good defender, and
Oh
Pritchard is a
yeah,
scrappy defender who can't get abused by taller guys. So, I mean, we are there. It's time. It's our time. No excuses. And we just need to take care of business. And this could just open the floodgates for something really big if they just pull this off. And, hopefully they're more pissed and motivated than nervous. We'll see. I
yeah,
think we'll get an idea. I want to see Brown and Tatum come out driving to the hoop. Driving, and if it's not there because Lively's down there defending or Gafford, kick it out. Kick it out. Let White, Holiday, and Porzingis be the guys shooting the 3-pointers. Horford shooting the 3-pointer.
yeah. I
Whenever
mean,
you got Doncic or Irving on you, Tatum or Brown, take them to the hoop to tire them out. If they don't get help, lay it in or dunk it in their face because they cannot defend you. If they get help, someone's open. Find that guy, kick it out to him. Keep
yeah,
working Doncic and Irvin, tire them out. Because if one of them has an off night, look at their record. It's not good in the postseason. They need both of them to excel every night together. So you stop one of them or you significantly like slow them both down a little bit, they have no shot usually. So
yep,
there's a lot of keys. And Vegas. Vegas, I mean, again, go back to that. More than a 2-1 favorite. They're not, they know something. They can just tell. They ran their numbers, their
yep,
research. They're not, everyone's betting Dallas, man. And the line is not shifting. Like the money line, nothing's shifting. So it's like they're baiting because they know.
yep,
So
yeah.
they're
No,
not right 100% of the time, but the house is right most of the time. Just remember that.
yeah. And my buddy Andrew, KP is going to rain threes in from the corners, and honestly, maybe even not the corners, but possibly just inside the logo, right? And when he's doing that, that pulls Lively, Gafford so far away from the hoop. And then who do you got guarding the hoop? Doncic, PJ Washington, pretty good defender. Derek Jones, pretty good defender, right? But that's not Rudy Gobert down there, right? That's not Joel
No,
Embiid down there. There's no reason Tatum, Brown, Derek White, Drew Holiday in the post against any of those guys should be an easy layup, right? So Porzingis being in the game is just going to create so much space, right? It's why it's super important that he hits his threes, right? Because they'll adapt and they'll shift based on how that goes. Um, so I talked about the turnovers for the Celtics, right? So this year in the playoffs, over 14 games, we're averaging 11.6 turnovers per game. The Mavericks are averaging 12.9 turnovers per game. They lead the NBA in turnovers in the playoffs. Of course, they've played the most games along with the Pacers. They both played 17, but they have 15 more turnovers than the Pacers. So the Mavericks played the Timberwolves. The Timberwolves are third at 195. We are fourth with 162. So we're doing really well in the turnover department. Um, we generate a lot of turnovers. We don't foul too much, right? Um, it's going to be very interesting to see what kind of because very similar to hockey, right? You see different kinds of defenses, West Coast, East Coast, right? And the games on the West Coast, I feel like are usually more open, a bit more soft. So I'm very curious to see how the Celtics go in after playing against the meat grinder, right? Pretty much every team approached the Celtics with a game plan of we're going to foul every single offensive possession at least one time, and the refs will not call it every time. So I'm wondering, what does Jason Kidd do? What does that defense for the Mavs do? And how do they adapt? Do they start doing that same crap? And if the refs are going to let it happen, I think it's going to be a lot very predicated, Dad, on how the refs officiate these games, because there's no reason Doncic shouldn't have two, three fouls going into halftime every single game, unless the refs, want for the product to not, have Doncic out of the game. So that's going to be very interesting because we don't foul. This Mavericks team is going to have to foul, and are the refs going to let them?
Yeah. I mean, if the trend stays the way it is, get ready for the clutching, the grabbing, the hacking, the slowing the game down. 96 to 89 finals. I hope it don't. I hope the NBA, kind of says to the refs, listen, let's we want to showcase here. We want to send a message that if you foul, we're calling it. So we want our star players to have space. We want to see beautiful drives, beautiful dunks, beautiful threes, beautiful fadeaways. And the only way you're going to get a game that's consistent with all of that is if there isn't these fouls constantly happening. So
Yep.
again, I don't want hockey, football, fine. Give me all the physicality. I don't want my basketball looking that way. It's a game of beauty and grace. Hopefully, the NBA sends a little message to the referees. Hey, know how we were telling you to let them play, swallow the whistles? No, no, no. Set the stage early. They're fouling, we're calling it. We want to see things loosen up. We want to see an offensive show in the finals because that favors the Celtics by a ton. And
Yep.
really, it just boils down to, Matt, take away Dallas's lobs. Make sure Kyrie and Doncic don't kill you with threes, and let their rest of their players beat you with 3 pointers. Because this is not the Pacers. This is not.
Yep.
This is not them. PJ Washington, Jones, all those guys, they can hit a 3 pointer. Make it so if you lose, it's going to be those guys have to be lights out from three because they can't do it. They count on Kyrie and Doncic way too much in those alley oop lobs. It is their
Yeah.
bread and butter of their entire offense, period.
Yeah. So this Mavericks team, some more stats. They're averaging 24 free throws per game. That is a lot. That is the fifth most. And really, you know, like, I mean, really, you could say that they're leading the league because only teams above them have 6 games, 7 games, 4 games, and 13 games, and they have 17, and they're averaging 24 a game. Now, here's the biggest thing, and this is they are the lowest and worst free throw shooting team in the NBA at 72%. Now, you talked about taking away those lobs, and this is where I think is very important. I don't want to hurt anyone. I don't want to do anything dangerous, but I want them to foul hard on all of those lobs. Gafford and Lively cannot hit a free throw. They're both 60% free throw shooters. No easy buckets. Lively
I
did
like
not
that.
miss a shot last series, right? He was 100%. How in the world does Gobert, Towns, and Nas Reed not at least one time take the body hard? Don't go underneath his legs. Don't kill the kid, but not take the body hard and stop him from dunking it to force him to make 2 free throws. I don't know how that doesn't happen, right?
Well, Matt, it does. It's not a. He was fouled. I guarantee you, they were fouled. They
Okay.
don't count as a field goal
Okay,
attempt,
my
though.
bad. My
The only
bad.
way they
Okay.
count as a field goal attempt is if you get a foul on the basket. Then they count it as a field goal attempt. So I guarantee you, they
My bad on
fouled
the stat.
him
My bad.
on
Yeah.
those attempts, but he got to go for 2 free throws, and it doesn't count as a miss. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I love that, Matt. Absolutely. I mean, you get burned with a lob if you have the opportunity, grab their arm.
Gotta.
Sometimes lobs is nothing you can do most of the time. But yep,
Yeah.
if you sense the alley oop's coming and you're not in a position to block the pass, go for the arm. Put
No
them on the
easy
line,
buckets.
especially those two guys. I like
The
that.
worst free throw
Definitely.
shooting team in the NBA playoffs right
Yeah.
now. No easy buckets.
Luke is like a sneaky bad free throw shooter, just like Jalen
Yep.
Brown. right? If you didn't watch a lot of Celtics and Mavericks, you'd think, oh, Jaylen Brown probably a really good free throw shooter. Luka Doncic a really good free throw shooter. No, they're both kind of sneaky bad at it. They're like in the 70s, like low 70s. So
Yep.
they're not great.
Yeah. Kyrie missed a few very important ones towards the end of the
No, I don't,
games.
I don't want Kyrie on the line though. Kyrie's like a
I know.
90% free throw shooter for his career. So
So
I
I
don't
mean,
want
you
that.
got like you got Lively in the first series. He got a ton of free throws: 2, 6, 2, 1, 2, 8. Um, and he went 52% from the line. And the next series, he went 12, 3, 6, 3, and he went 66%. I mean, you got to foul against these guys. If Tillman's in there, if Cornette's in there, get your 5 fouls.
Yes.
Just do it,
Yes.
please. Kyrie worries me slightly. He's got something to prove. We need to ignore him. Don't get sucked into his BS and play our own game. Here's the Tim.
Tim
I'm sure you're
Hilliard.
probably Tim, my buddy. So here's the thing, Tim, and we did talk about this early on. We've beaten Kyrie the last 10 games. So if anything, we need to keep doing whatever we do to get Kyrie out of a funk into the funk because he can't win against us, right? I know he's
No.
had something to prove for the last 10 times. He stepped unlucky. He stepped unlucky and then proceeded to get swept in the following playoffs when he had a chance to take us out with his full stack team. Everybody was going to that Nets team. Everybody. They had, Durant, Griffin. They were all these veterans were flocking and they couldn't do it. So Kyrie, I think it's gonna get to him. I think he's trying so hard in the media to be this bigger person. Oh, I've changed. Oh yeah,
No.
I was really
No.
crappy back in Boston. No, Kyrie, you are such an egomaniac. You live in a bubble with a bunch of yes men who agree with everything you say because have generational wealth. There's no way you became a bigger person. You are still a clown on the inside. So I'm very confident Kyrie still has uh, a bit of the yips. He can certainly prove us otherwise. But I don't know, Dad. How afraid of Kyrie are you? Do you think the past struggles he had are mean something, or do you think he's past it?
I thought it was 11 games, but 10 games out, I know it's
Oh, it
10 or
might be
11
11.
games straight
It
he's
might be
lost
11.
against us,
Yeah.
so uh I mean, I wouldn't be nervous about that. He had in his last series against us, game 1, he had like 38 points. And then he was
Yeah.
garbage the rest of the way.
Proceeded to do
So,
nothing.
I wouldn't be Boston fans, keep doing what you're doing to him. But please be classy about it.
Oh yeah, of
Because I'm
course.
telling you now, all it takes is one ass clown to say something stupid and racist, and for that to be on video. And guess what? No one's going to care about the series anymore. They're going to care about poor Kyrie and how racist Boston is. So listen, Kyrie
I
sucks
hate
all
those
the
fans.
time. Boo him all the time. Absolutely. If you're a racist scumbag, hopefully they
Don't
just
even cheer
do
for
not
us.
rear their
Don't
ugly
even
head.
cheer for us.
Anyway,
Don't just go
yeah.
find a new
Don't
team.
we don't
Go
want
find we don't
anywhere.
want you.
No. So let's make this about basketball and have one of the greatest championships in Boston sports history, because that's what this will be. Not just because we're starving for a championship and the Celtics haven't won and Tatum and Brown will break through and Doncic is a big mouth. We have the biggest villain in Boston sports history at our taking. I mean, talk about the cherry on top, the jimmies, the whipped cream, the hot fudge. We have all of it to sprinkle on top. Okay. Don't ruin it. Keep it classy, but stay on him because it clearly
Yeah.
does get to him.
Yeah. Call him a
Absolutely.
loser.
So,
Call him,
yeah,
all the fair play names, right? Keep it classy. Um, and yeah, I mean, I'm really excited. This feels like forever. I think as the NBA must be very disappointed. I mean, this news cycle has been recycled information constantly. Was it like 8 days without a game? I mean, I know
that's what
like
they
this is
get.
the way.
That's what they
Yeah,
get
but
for doing it this way. Yeah.
man, is it just like it's just miserable, just recycled, regurgitated. It's just like eat and throw up. Everyone's just
Yeah.
saying the same crap for so many days. Bunch of shock and awe. We need basketball. Basketball has to. This has been a painful wait, Dad. I don't know about you, but I am struggling. Oh my goodness.
It's not easy. And luckily it will come to an end once the games start. I mean, it's been so bad and people are so bored. They literally tried to fabricate and make up a rift between Brown and
I
Tatum.
know.
Oh, look at Tatum here. He doesn't feel as happy as the other players
Yeah, he
when
doesn't look.
Brown won the Eastern Conference MVP. They're like spot showering him. They're literally just trying to make up something that isn't there. I heard they're not best friends, but they're friends. They work out together. They hang, they're not. So what? And they're trying to pit each other pit them against each other. It's a shame. But
Yeah,
this is what the NBA gets. When you make it so there's a chance for a 10-game layoff, 10-day layoff with no game, where you can't make an adjustment and have the game a little early if both teams sweep or gentlemen sweep their, conference championships. This is what you get, NBA. So I'm sure they're begging for the series to get here because it should be epic once it does.
yeah, and I mean the bummer is there's 2 games between every 2 days between every single game, so it's gonna it's gonna be a long wait. Here's the best part: as a neutral fan, the latest game is 8:30, right? Is Am I correct to say that?
Yeah, I think so. I
Oh
think so.
man,
Yeah.
remember those Warriors games? 10:30
Oh,
starts or whatever. Like
I think
so,
they were 9:30, but they were brutal.
yeah,
Yeah,
9:30.
nine
Like
o'clock.
it felt like
Oh,
later. So nice, eight
yeah.
o'clock, 8:30 games. I'm super excited for that. My dad will be here for Saturday, so we're gonna be watching that together. Um, very
Sunday,
excited about
Sunday,
that.
you mean. Sunday we play. I think.
Oh,
Yeah,
Sunday. It's not Saturday. Oh, I'm
it
a
is
goober.
Sunday. Yeah,
Oh yeah, so we'll be watching that. Game's Sunday, honey. So yeah,
yeah. We'll be
I'm
doing the
super excited.
podcast together Sunday.
Yep.
Oh,
So
Jeff wants to know prediction. I mean, I unfortunately think the Panthers are going to win, but I'm rooting hard for Edmonton. I can't watch that at Florida, and it helps the Bruins if Edmonton loses and their goaltending is terrible because now that's another guy. That's another team that you know the Oilers going to be begging for Allmark in the offseason. So it actually hurts the Bruins in that way. I can't watch that Florida team win a cup, so I'm gonna. I think Florida's going to win it, but I'm hoping Edmonton does. You, Matt?
no, I like how Tim put Oilers. Tim, you didn't have to put that. I could have answered for you. I wouldn't. So who do I want to win? I think is also the same of who I think's going to win because I mean it stinks the Bruins have been out of it, but it's also afforded me the opportunity to watch more hockey, with more stress free hockey. And this Oilers team is so special. I mean, their top six is just so good. And McDavid, he's the real deal. Draisaitl, real deal. Hyman's the real deal. All these guys are what I want Pasternak to be. They show up in the playoffs. Draisaitl
Yeah.
is now, I think, one of only 5 players who has multiple 30-point playoff runs, and the finals haven't even started yet. So these guys are
I think that's
nails.
McDavid, but they are good. I mean that play
Oh yeah,
McDavid had the other
McDavid, my
night,
bad.
like
McDavid,
holy
yeah, no.
cow, like that was otherworldly. Like they should almost kick him out of the league. It's not even fair. Like it's
Yeah.
insane how good that guy is.
So
So
my buddy Andrew, who's another
yeah,
big hockey guy, so we're little hockey nightcap, little cherry on top for this podcast. He believes the Panthers forecheck will pick apart the Oilers, but I'm rooting for Oilers. I think everyone's rooting for the Oilers. It does suck that a championship will go to Canada. I know people really want that to that streak to continue, but this Oilers team is super likable. Um, McDavid's special, and I think I don't know. I feel like at this point they're super healthy, uh, and their stars are playing like stars. So I think that even though the Panthers are the Panthers, and they have their gamers and everything like that, I don't think this Oilers team has given me any reason to think that they won't win, because they're playing really
yeah,
well. They beat the Dallas Stars team, and I think that Dallas Stars team's loaded. Um,
it's a really good
so
team. Yeah,
yeah,
but let's get back
by
to basketball. We're gonna finish it off.
yeah,
So
we haven't had a cup up here since '93. Yeah, so I mean, I think the Oilers bring it to you. And Tim's going back to Kyrie. By ignore, I don't.
yeah,
I mean, don't change what we're doing. Don't get sucked into doing something different. This is the finals, not regular
yeah,
season. More pressure, more chance someone screws up. And Tim, I totally agree. And you know what's crazy is I almost guarantee you the players aren't thinking about this. The NBA is so different than what I used to be. Like I remember Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett used to hate the other team. It was a
yeah.
visceral hate. Like I forget who the guy was first name was who played for the Pacers. His name was like Harrington. And I remember Paul Pierce would talk so much garbage to that guy all game. Um,
Yeah.
Dwayne Wade, Rondo, like it's just like I just feel like the guys have love for Kyrie. I don't think there's any way they get sucked in. I think the one who could maybe suck them in is Doncic, like my dad said, because Doncic is, you know,
He's a
arrogant in a
punk.
lot of
Yeah,
ways.
he's a
He
trash
also,
talker, man. He'll give it to you. He'll,
oh yeah,
you can't guard me, you bitch, and all that stuff. And hopefully that unlocks a side of Tatum we've never seen before. I would love to see Tatum kind of like get angry, get aggressive, get mad. I think it'll happen if he does it. Don't be surprised if Doncic doesn't say much to Brown and mostly does to Tatum. Don't be surprised because Brown will give it back to him. And
yeah.
he can't guard Brown. So if Brown slams it in his fat face, oh, let me tell you, it's Brown to give it to him and embarrass him. And hopefully we get a lot of that because, like I said, there's an opportunity there to be a Boston legend, Tatum or Brown, if one of you want it.
Yeah, and one other note about Doncic is everyone talks about how much of a killer he is and everything like that, and he definitely has his moments. But that game one, when he hit that three on Gobert, those were
Too, yeah.
those were his first points in the fourth quarter. So, I mean, if he misses that shot, everyone's talking about how he disappeared, but he made it, right? He
Yeah.
made a fantastic shot, talking
Give him
so
credit.
much
Yeah.
smack. Talking so much smack
Yeah.
again after not scoring a single point in the fourth quarter, you make a step back shot, which really is in a lot of ways a bad shot, and then you end up talking smack. It's like, come on, man. So this guy will open his mouth, whether he is ahead, behind. He'll open his mouth. We'll see how the Celtics respond to it. But I think what we have in spades is maturity. This team is a bunch of business like guys. I mean, if it was Marcus Smart, Grant Williams was horrible at absorbing, any level of adversity. Right? He would always get riled up, underperform in most cases when riled up. Uh, this team, I don't know. It just seems like they're just on a business trip.
Well, there's
I'm really curious
only one way to shut up Doncic, and that's to win the championship in his face
in his
and
face.
hold up that gold trophy right in front of
Oh
him
yeah,
as he's walking to the locker room. So
please,
raining green and white confetti. That's the only way to do
please.
it. Because, like you said, he could be down 3 games to nothing. He's going to talk smack. So that's the only way to shut him up. And our Celtics are ready to do it and, take down the biggest villain in Boston sports history. I I am ready.
I'm so ready. We'll certainly be here before and after the game. Um, would love anybody watching this or who has watched this to chime in. We want all your thoughts. We'll have some more quick hits comments about what we want to see in that game. I'm really excited. So yeah, Dad, hour and 7 minutes. I think we're good. I think we covered this.
We are. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. Please subscribe. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube. Big for the channel. Really helps us out. Those like buttons, comments, all that good stuff. But if you subscribe, that's a big deal. So thank you,
Yeah.
everyone. And we will see you Thursday.
Jeff Unknown, you are the man. Thanks for hanging out for the entire time, and I appreciate you.
Yes.
We appreciate you as much as you appreciate our insights. We appreciate you 1,000 times more, man. Go Celtics and go
Absolutely.
Oilers. Go Oilers, man. We'll see you guys later. Bye bye.